Should have been me. 6 feet under. I should have been in the fire. But that fire's in me now.
Amen.
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 You guys don't need a sermon now, right? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Man, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I have been doused with this for a week and a half now. So I hope that I do it justice, and I hope that you receive it well. But today, well, you don't have a preview of it because I didn't get that ahead. We've been pretty busy at work. That's my fault. I apologize about that. But maybe you might have seen it coming in on the way. Our preview, as many of you know, when I was at Clemson, maybe some of you don't know, especially since I work as a warehouse manager, my major was actually in English. So don't panic. Don't panic. I'm not going to make anyone diagram a sentence or anything like that. So test you on your past particle, perfect tense. Anyway, but in our language, we have a lot of different sentences. We have periods, which usually again are written words, and those are usually either with statements. I think, therefore I am. A statement. We have declarations. God is good all of the time. And all the time,
God is good.
that's right. When something really gets on us, when we're really, really excited, we use exclamations and we use an exclamation mark. Esther is walking fine.
Amen.
Someone brought me banana pudding. Amen. But today I don't want to talk about statements or declarations or even exclamations. Today, and I was going to put a nice little green thing up here, a la the Riddler. We're going to be talking about questions with a question mark. Questions are how we learn. Oh, I'm sorry. For our children, we are going to be dismissed. See, I'm so excited. We're going to go into this thing. I haven't even dismissed our kids. My apologies, guys. Kids, if you want to follow Miss Esther back, she has a nice, awesome, and her and her lovely assistant, they have a nice, awesome time of Connect all set up for you guys in the classroom. Connor, you want to hit back Miss Esther? No? Not? Okay. And I think some of them are nodding out already, so that's okay. Okay. But we're going to be talking about questions. And questions are how we learn. That's how we can come to understand things. Oftentimes, I think about my good friend Mike. Now, when Mike and I are out and together, lots of times, Mike will be with me and he is to, we'll be talking about something or discussing something, and he likes to use the phrase, my question is. When he finds out something he wants to know, and he says, my question is. So, and he'll lead into it for you to explain. But sometimes he'll change it up just a little bit. Maybe he's already been asking a couple of questions. And then he'll get to the meat and grit of it, and he'll say, so I got just one more question. And you may have heard that from, children or something like that. I just got one more question. Maybe before bedtime. That's the time that we usually seem to have gotten it. I have just one more question. Makes me think of a television show from when I was very young. And it was in reruns then. So it may be not familiar with some of you. Some of you may be familiar with it. Is anybody familiar with the show Columbo?
Oh,
Peter Falk?
love that man.
Peter Falk played a detective from Los Angeles. And he would be in a crumpled up coat. He would look like a mess. You would think he really wouldn't know what was going on. He would be very polite when he went to ask somebody something, when he went to go, he was always involved in the hardest cases that the department had. And they seemed impossible to think, but through his questioning, he always would say one last phrase. Pardon me, ma'am, but just one more thing. Just one more thing. And I can't do a good Columbo, I'm sorry. You have to use your imagination here a little bit. But when he would say the phrase, just one more thing, and ask his question, he had whoever done it dead to rights. And this was going to be the thing that nailed him. Well, questions can help us to glimpse truth. But they offer also a glimpse of the truth of who we are. Especially the first question that we ask. This morning, I want to look at 4 familiar accounts from the Bible. What is truth? Truth is right here. And the questions that come to mind for some of those key people in those accounts. Now, I didn't give you a heads up, but the first we're going to start in Genesis. So stand with me if you will, and let's turn to Genesis chapter. I wrote that down wrong. Chapter 27. I did write that down wrong. Man, I did that twice. I noticed it was wrong, and I went and fixed it. Stand with me if you will, while we read God's word. And we're in Genesis 27. When Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his older son, to him, and said, "My son," and he answered, "Here I am." He said, "Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, take your weapons and your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and prepare for me delicious food, such as I love, and bring it to me so that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die." Now Rebekah, who was his wife, was listening when Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game and bring it, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "I heard your father speak to your brother Esau. Bring me game and prepare me delicious food, that I may eat it and bless you before the Lord before I die. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice as I command you. Go to the flock and bring the 2 good young goats, so that I may prepare from them delicious food for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father to eat, so that he may bless you before he dies." But Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, "Behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be mocking him, and bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing." His mother said to him, "Let your curse be on me, my son. Obey my voice and go, bring them to me." You may be seated. Heavenly Father, as we go through your word and scripture here, help it to speak to our hearts and our minds. Help it to inform us on how to be. Help us to take it in and let it resolve and reside within us. It's in your word I pray. Amen. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to cut my notes back on. And I'm going to pause here. Esau had already sold and forfeited his birthright. Esau had married strange wives, in other words, foreigners. So that's Esau's story beforehand. But here Isaac is going to go lay the blessing upon Esau. After they've already heard that who's going to get the blessing? Jacob, which is kind of odd. So, Rebekah, his wife, she decided not to come to confront Isaac with the insights that she had to persuade him. Instead, she decides to develop a plan to get Jacob the blessing. Now, as we pause there, she lays out her plan after she calls him in. And Jacob hears it, and he's immediately thinks of a question. But the question isn't, what is it that God would have me do? His question instead is, how can I get away with that? How am I going to accomplish this? Because it just seems impossible. So, he lays out a question of his own to Rebekah. And instead of saying, well, yeah, you're kind of right, she devises a plan on how to make this happen. Now, if we continue on, we'll find that Jacob has 3 different opportunities to come clean and to straighten things out. Continuing on in verse 14. So he went and took them and brought them to his mother. And his mother prepared delicious food, such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. This is an elaborate plot. And the skins of the young goats she put on his hands and the smooth part of his neck. And she put the delicious food in the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. So he went into his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here I am. Who are you? Who are you, my son?" Opportunity number 1. Instead, Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Now sit up and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me." But Isaac said to his son, another question, "How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son?" Another opportunity. Come clean. He answered, "Because the Lord your God granted me success." Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come near me that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not." So Jacob went near to Isaac his father, who felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" Opportunity number 3. He answered, "I am." Then he said, "Bring it near to me, that I may eat of my son's game and bless you." So he brought it near him, and he ate. And he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come near and kiss me, my son." So he came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled the smell of his garments and blessed him, and said, See the smell of my son is a smell of the field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of the grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you." Jacob had 3 different opportunities to come clean, to rectify himself. But Jacob first went awry in this account when he asked the wrong question, when the wrong question came to mind. Not the question of, what does God want me to do? But the question of, can I get away with it? How will I get away with it? But, that's Old Testament stuff. Surely we wouldn't do that in the New Testament. Don't call me Shirley. And go with me to the Gospel of Luke. Luke 5, actually. Let's go to a different account. Luke, the third Gospel, in chapter 5. We'll begin at verse 27. The calling of Levi, or the calling of Matthew. After this, he went out and saw a tax collector named Levi, sitting at the tax booth. And he said to him, "Follow me." Jesus telling him, "Follow me." And leaving everything, he rose and followed him. And Levi made him a great feast in his house. And there was a large company of tax collectors and others reclining at the table with him. And the Pharisees and their scribes grumbled at his disciples, saying, "Why do you eat with and drink with tax collectors and sinners?" And Jesus answered them, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." Let's pause there. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law in this account, Jesus comes out and he asks Levi or Matthew, he asks him to do what? Follow me. Levi doesn't even have a question. He does it immediately according to the gospel. He gets up and goes. Now, what's amazing about this account in it is Jesus calls a tax collector. Tax collector. These are the people who are working for Rome to collect the taxes. The Roman occupation, which the Jews thought was unholy, which hated. They hated the Romans. It's bad enough he called a fisherman that smells bad and is a hothead. Now he's calling tax collectors. And not only that, this tax collector goes home to his house and, he's skimming off the top. They thought he was traitors. So he goes to this traitor's house and has a big meal. A fancy feast. Can you imagine the people going into the head of the IRS and having a big fancy feast at his head? What would your friends think? What would other people think? Well, here Jesus was doing that. And the high and mighty Pharisees, these teachers of law, who distanced themselves. They wouldn't even speak to the tax collectors. He's in there eating with them. So they need to go set these people straight. They go into his disciples. Why are you eating with this person? Jesus responds that he's come for the sick. They're asking the wrong question. Their hearts aren't aligned with God, and they ask the wrong question. Why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? Why aren't they asking them, and we have hindsight, 2020 hindsight, how did you get Levi to leave his position? How did you get him to get up from the table where he was? These were wealthy people. They were despised people. They were hated people. But he went with Jesus when he called. And not only that, here Jesus had the opportunity to spread the gospel to a whole host of these folks. They're not asking how Jesus communicated with them, how he shared with them. It's like, why are you associating with him? Now, Melly's not here, but I've already shared this before, and she's kind of, I know she's kind of good with that and everything, but so I can tell you that one of the shows that she likes to watch is the Alaska Bush People. Does anybody like to watch that? Okay, a couple, yeah. And one of the reasons that she likes to watch that is supposedly in this show, these people are out in this remote part of Alaska, and basically they find a whole bunch of what is useless junk and all. Currently, they're building a wind turbine to be able to power their brown town. They name the town after themselves. If you found your own town, you can do that. So, but they scavenge what they can find to make things. You know, to make a raft, to make a chicken house, to make whatever they need. Things that have been discarded. Here, Jesus was taking something that was discarded, but he saw the real purpose for it. He saw what it could be. He saw probably what he created it for, and he was restoring it. The Pharisees and they came in, they saw what Levi was. And they couldn't see his purpose beyond that. Jesus saw his purpose for what he would be, not what he was. And I am so grateful. You know, this week, it might have been last week, I posted some things on Facebook. I was doing some cleaning and whatnot. And as I was working on this, and then this passage came to mind, I had a lot of memories from things that were past that I found in cleaning out boxes and trying to tidy things up, I guess. A few things I wanted to hold on to and a few things I didn't. Some really great memories. You know, I finally found where I put my mother's Bible. I found where I had my old ID. I found where just a lot of different things. A lot of useless things too, like old school newspapers and things like that. I found the astronaut suit that my grandmother made for me, the second generation.
Aww.
So, but in it, I also posted that sometimes when we look in the past, I found some things that we may not have been too proud of. Well, that's true. That's truth. But the thing is, when we look at it, Jesus sees what we can be, not what we are. He sees when people look at us, they don't look at the question of what we were. The question that comes to mind is not of, how can you hang out with this person? The question comes, how did you reach that person? Just like Levi. I'm glad that Jesus saw what I was intended to be and not what I had made myself into. But when it comes, we have to go back to that original question. What does God want me to do? What does God want me to do? Turn with me a little later into Luke. Heavy, dark days. Luke 23. Excuse me. Jesus has been offered up to Pilate. And the mob has come out and said, crucify. And Jesus is taking on the sin of you and I and every other person in his Father's plan. And he's crucified with two criminals. What do you think their first question is going to be? Verse 32, it says, 2 others who were criminals were led away to be put to death with him. And when they came to the place that is called the Skull, there they crucified him, and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they cast lots to divide his garments, and the people stood by watching. But the rulers scoffed at him, saying, He saved others, let him save himself. If he is the Christ of God, his chosen one. The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine, and saying, If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself. There was also an inscription over him, This is the king of the Jews. And we get to the criminals. One of the criminals who hanged railed at him, saying, Are you not Christ? Save yourself and us. But the other rebuked him, saying, Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed justly, for are receiving the due reward of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong. And he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And he said to him, Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Two criminals. Both of them guilty. But two very different responses. One criminal, he responds with anger and bitterness, with evil and contempt. His response is out of desperation. But his question is wrong, because in his question, his processing of it is that he and God are equals. He puts himself on the same plane with God. But there's the other criminal. The other criminal responds with desperation as well. But his desperation is resolved to plead for mercy, to plead for grace, and to plead for forgiveness. His response first recognizes the proper position between he and God. They are not equals. God is worthy of fear. Now, this isn't fear of someone that's going to hit you over the head with a 2x4. This is a fear of a healthy respect. This is understanding the proper relation, like we just talked about. This man recognizes that Jesus' kingdom is coming. He can see it. He also recognizes he's in dire need of an advocate. You see, unlike most of the others, he could see that they all had the illness. They were all very sick. Not just the two criminals, but they were all sick. Yet he's the one that recognizes it and asks for the cure. That's his question. Not a placebo to make it better, to limit his symptoms, but a cure. Bold. So one final account. Turn with me to the last gospel, the Gospel of John, into chapter 21. Now we remember, before the crucifixion, Jesus had told them that they would be betrayed. And all of the disciples had went around and said, "Who would betray you, Jesus? Not I." But Peter goes a step further. And when Jesus tells him, he goes a step even further. He says, "I would follow you even unto death." Well, Jesus knows the truth. He told him that he would betray him as well before the sun up. Peter's hung on to that guilt. Here Jesus restores Peter. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Feed my lambs." He said to him a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He said to him, Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Tend my sheep." He said to him a third time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was grieved because he said to him the third time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go." This he said to show by what kind of death he was to glorify God. And after saying this, he said to him, "Follow me." Jesus restores Peter. This is his marching orders. So, what would be the first question you'd want to ask? What question forms in your mind? Well, sometimes even people very close to Jesus come up with the wrong questions. Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them, the one who had leaned back against him during the supper. And he said, "Lord," when he had said, "Lord, who is that that's going to betray you?" When Peter saw him, he said to Jesus, "Lord, what about this man?" You've been given your marching orders. This is his question. What about John? Jesus said to him, "If it is my will that he remains until I come, what is that to you?" And then as a repeat of his emphasis, he says, "You follow me." What about John? What did it matter? Peter had his task. We have our task. Do your job. You know, this week was also losing my ear. Pardon me. This week was also the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, where the U.S. hockey team beat the Soviet Union. Oh my gosh, like 37 years ago now. And it was a big moment in my life, but in watching and creates a big memory. But when the Americans took the lead with 10 minutes to go in the game against the mighty Soviet Union, the professional team, these college kid amateurs, The camera panned over to their coach, Herb Brooks. These young guys who were so close, yet it seemed so far away. Eruzione said he would go to the ice for his minute shift, and he came back, and it seemed like 5 seconds had gone off the clock. The time couldn't quick by fast enough. What if Brooks told his team, do your job. Over and over, do your job. See, the forwards didn't have to be the goalie. The goalie had to be the goalie. The goalie didn't have to be the forwards. He had to be the goalie. It didn't matter what Christ had planned for John. He was telling Peter, do what I have instructed you to do. That's what he tells us. A God-focused mind, directed by the Spirit, is the only means we have of beginning to even start to ask God the first right question. We have to have that. We have to have the Spirit. We have to seek after it to prompt us to start with the right question for God. Maybe that question's, what does God want me to do? Maybe you already understand that. Maybe the question is, how does God want me to do it? Now, the answer could be the full plan. God may give you none of the plan. He may just tell you to go do it, to start with. He may give you a portion of the plan. But whatever the answer is from God, it's going to be enough of what we need to handle what we have. Even if it's, when does God want me to do it? Now? Or to wait? Our first question has to be driven within the Spirit residing within us and our heart seeking after God.